Good morning and welcome. I'm still at my kitchen table, but thought I'd have some fun today with what I'm going to speak about. Over my shoulder is a turkey vulture, which are very common here in North America. Greetings. I'm Anna, healer, spiritual counsel, soul Sherpa, your mistress. And through the dark night of the soul, I'm here as your tour guide. Thanks for being here today. I gotta say, maybe you're feeling this too. The last couple of weeks have been wowzers. They have been so intense. I've had a lot more activations than I personally care to admit, but I just admitted it. I'm human. It happens to me too. Just things in my day-to-day life have been triggering. And there's been a lot of opportunity to review and suss out some of the um, kind of programs that are at work, at play underneath all of that. It's good times. It's good times. It's how we do the deep inner work, right? And so this morning, I had a rough night of sleep and I'm moving slow and I get out much later than I like to and take the tunes for a walk. And I step out onto a trail really close to my house. And as I do, I see this massive shadow just circling. And I went, holy cow, that's a big one. And so I looked up, straight up, and just overhead, and not very far away, not way up high in the sky, was a turkey vulture. I looked, and where I live, they typically breed in the summertime. They don't really live here year round. It's a little cool for them year round. And but they love to breed here. So half the year I get to see them roughly, maybe a third of the year. And it's the first one I've seen this season. And it was right overhead, circling a couple of times counterclockwise, swooping around. And I just stopped and I just waited and I watched it soaring on wind currents that are invisible to us. This beautiful, majestic bird that gets such a bad rap, right? Because we think of turkey vultures and death. And of course, they play an important and invaluable, actually, part in ecosystems because they clean and they purify. And this week, I've just been thinking about how do we purge our past? How do we purge it? How do we purge it? How do we get out of the bullshit stories that we have all internalized from family and culture and educational systems that train us in very specific ways for very specific reasons that are not necessarily in our best interest? How do we purge that? Purge, purge, purge. And as I watched that turkey vulture circle over me, I was reminded that it is less about purging and much more about purification. And so, what do I mean by purification? Let's break this down. Um, it is about making something sacred. So, if I want to purge my past because it's aspects of my past that create these triggers that get me all activated and pissed off when I have an encounter with someone where I feel dismissed or I feel taken for granted or who knows what, right? There's all sorts of things that happen. How do I purge that? Well, if I change the lens from purging, purging says, get out, go, go, I don't want you. And purification says, you're welcome to be here. I'm willing to be with you. I'm willing to sit in the discomfort of this awareness of what I'm holding inside of me, AKA bullshit stories and conditioning and old wounding that cause that reaction. And this purification is alchemical, right? Purging is resisting and pushing away and not letting in. And it's very yang, masculine, nothing wrong with masculine energy, but the energy is this like, no. Whereas a purification is, I'm willing. It's not necessarily a yes, give me more of those triggers and activations. No, 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 no. That's not what we're talking about. But I'm willing to see something differently. In fact, I had a beautiful conversation with a friend who mirrored some things to me, some things I had forgotten that were very counter to my um, poor me story, about my past. She reminded me of some things that change the whole narrative. And they change it in a way that is more empowering for me. That alchemical shift happened when I was reminded of things I had said and done previously that were counter to my current narrative, and how beautiful that mirroring is and how profound it is. That's what this work is all about. And that's exactly why we don't do this work alone, because we do not have an unadulterated mirror to see ourselves. We cannot see ourselves clearly. We have way too many distortions in our lens. There's way too many splattered bugs on that one. We need other people. And so to take it back to the turkey vulture, its Latin name is Cathartes aura, which translates loosely, depending on how you do it, into golden purifier or purifying breeze. Without the turkey vulture and other birds like ravens and crows and all of those birds, we would have dead carcasses everywhere. We would be inundated on this planet by this stench of rotting flesh. And so the turkey vulture is a fantastic, fantastic ally in this process, because those bullshit thoughts and memories that aren't even real, because we cannot actually trust our memory 100%. And this is well documented scientifically. Lots of studies prove this. We need turkey vulture medicine to purify our own distorted sense of who we are. And so there's so many ways to take this, but I wanted to share, in one of my client sessions this week, I shared one of my all-time favorite quotes about forgiveness, which really applies to self-forgiveness, which is by Lily Tomlin. Rest in peace, Lily. She was amazing. It says, forgiveness means giving up all hope for a better past. Forgiveness means giving up all hope for a better past. Turkey vulture medicine lets us come in and do that alchemical work that allows us to accept our past exactly as it is, as it was, accept ourselves. That's how you purify your past, is by coming into radical, deep acceptance of it. Right? There's so many aspects of my past that are stinky, that have the stench of rotting flesh, if I want to be really extreme, right? And we get to love that. We get to purify that through these alchemical means. Sometimes the alchemy is deep inner reflection. Sometimes the alchemy is that conversation with the person who can mirror things back to you that you conveniently forgot because they don't match your poor me narrative. My sweet soul sister knows exactly who she is. Thank you, dear. And sometimes the alchemy is energy healing. Sometimes it is internal parts systems, or IFS, internal family systems therapy, to help bring those parts of you home. Sometimes it's the alchemy of brain spotting, or any of the other modalities that so many of us use that are just fabulous for allowing that turkey vulture medicine to come in and to cleanse and purify. And so right now, what's happening in the great out there is that everything is falling apart, or so it seems. And it is very destabilizing and it's very triggering and activating. And then all of that gets mirrored in our day-to-day interpersonal relationships at work or, in relationships and partnerships, etc. There's a lot of activation in the field right now. And this is really good because when we're in that head under the rock, head in the sand kind of place, we can't do this alchemical work. And this is what we're here to do right now is alchemy. And of course, it starts on the inside. Loving all of the parts of ourselves, loving the stinkiness, the rot, and letting turkey vulture medicine come in and purify the heart, the body, the soul. So I invite you today to really consider, lean into something in your own life that is challenging, a situation, a relationship, your health. You didn't sleep well, you haven't been sleeping well. And invite in some awareness and just simple acceptance of it. What if it's possible for you to accept, radically accept that your past is done? The things you said and did, the decisions you made about anything, it's done. What would it be like to go into meditation right now and imagine, and this is macabre, I know that it is, but death leads to rebirth. So what if you could imagine your own Tibetan burial? My grandmother was a Tibetan Buddhist, and we joked that we'd leave her body on the side of a mountain in Tibet and just let the vultures come and take her. She would have loved that. It's not actually how it went down. It's a little hard to arrange those kinds of things. But what if you did your own imaginal journey to a mountainside in Tibet and invited the vultures to come and take those parts of you that no longer fit, the parts of you that hurt, that hold the wounds, that hold the grudges, that hold you back from showing up in love every single day? What if you did this meditation, turkey vulture medicine? If you do it, report back. If you'd like me to lead you through one, let me know. Maybe we'll just do Substack Live or something like that. And I'll just lead everyone through a guided visualization for turkey vulture medicine. I don't know. Let me know if that is too weird. Yeah, you're finding out by now I'm kind of weird. But anyway, thank you for being here. My wish for you is to love all of the parts of yourself as we are all here redefining reality, using quotes, reality, air quotes, redefining your own personal reality as we collectively redefined an outer reality. We've got to create it internally first so that we can project it outwards, so that we know where to direct the ship, because no one out there is coming to save us except for us. Much love to you today and always, wishing you the very best.